This is Obadiah chapter 1 verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord Yahweh had spoken it. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachar. Those are the true names of the Most High and the only begotten Son, through the Holy Spirit. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who have taught us this word and teach us this word today. And I want to give a salutation unto the hopeful elect scattered across the four corners of this earth, striving for salvation. This is the brother Yatazak Bob with the GMS Nebraska camp. And in this lesson, what I want to get into is, how a righteous genocide is going to be committed upon the Edomites, the so-called white people, as they're known today, and as is prophesied in the book of Obadiah, it says that the nation of Esau or Edom is going to be completely wiped off the face of the earth by the Israelites. And this is going to be a just thing. This is going to be through Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. We have to keep in mind what the scriptures say about how the Most High feels about the Edomites, that these are the people whom the Lord has indignation forever. Why is this going to happen to Esau? Because they are the wicked, as the scriptures say. They are the embodiment of wickedness as a people. All nations, as of right now, are capable of committing wickedness, but the Edomites, it's in them to be wicked. The scriptures say that the soul which is lifted up in him is not upright in regards unto these people. So we're going to get into it in this lesson on why this is going to happen to them. First things first, I looked up the definition. What is what's the literal meaning of genocide? It says the legal term genocide refers to certain acts committed with the intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. Now this is a hot buzzword, that word genocide. Then when a person hears that, it's just like when a person hears slavery. You hear that and it's just this evil, terrible thing comes into your mind. It's like, why would you want that to happen to somebody? But when, we're going to get into it in this lesson on why, the Edomites, need to be wiped off the face of this earth. And within prophecy, this is going to serve, when the Edomites are brought down out of power and they are put into captivity, underneath the kingdom of Israel, and once they are wiped off this earth, it's going to serve to beautify the earth. It's going to serve to, the scriptures talk about how when the wicked are brought down, the people are going to rejoice. It says when the righteous beareth rule, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So first things first, let's go to Malachi chapter 1 verse 4, which says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. So right there it says that Edom would be called the border of wickedness. And what this is saying is that everywhere that Esau will go, wickedness is going to follow them. Everywhere they mark their territory and say this is where we're going to be, there's going to be wickedness in there. And right now, Esau is blessed with dominion over the earth. The scriptures say what the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And how we know that's talking about Esau? Well, look who's ruling today. Look who the rich elite banking families are. Those who are calling the shots. Those who the different leaders of this earth answer to. Those who are wealthy beyond the idea of wealth as we know it right now. It's Edomites. And as they're ruling over this earth right now, we see the state of the world. And we see how things are decaying. We're seeing the increase of wickedness in this world. And this is why the scripture says what the people against whom the Lord Yahweh had indignation forever. And we're going to get into more reasons, but I just want to focus on this right now, on how they're treating the earth. As a matter of fact, real fast, let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1. Because like I said, when the Edomites take hold of something, or when they take over some wickedness, comes with that. And First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 7, this gives the history of when Alexander the Great took over the whole known world. Now it says in First Maccabees 1 verse 7, it says, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule, every one in his place. And when you look it up, Alexander died. He split his kingdom amongst his top generals. And what it says, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Now, this Greek Empire is the first time where Edomites were the major ruling empire in the earth. That started with the Greek Empire. And it says that when they put them crowns upon them heads and upon their heads and took over the earth, evils were multiplied. And that shows you right there that, when Esau gets his hands on something, there's going to be wickedness involved with it. There's been a video. Maybe I could probably put it in the description, but it's a good representation of Esau's nature. And it's basically, I think it's just titled Man. And you got this guy. It's like an animation where this guy is put on the earth, and it's before like the modern era. It's just a human being just gets put on the earth, and he just starts killing everything and taking everything over. When he sees animals, and he starts killing the animals and making clothing out of it, which isn't wrong in and of itself, but it's the nature of how far Esau will go, and it shows in the video, because he starts building these factories, he starts making guns and just killing more and more, and polluting the earth, and just cluttering everything up, and destroying forests, destroying ecosystems, habitats, to the point where the world is just this heaping pile of trash, and just he just destroyed everything. And then he sat on top of it all in a throne with a crown, and was just happy with himself. And that's the nature of Esau. Esau is destroying this earth, but he's getting everything, and and so he doesn't feel guilty about it. And that's where it says it in Isaiah chapter 24 verse 4, where it says, the earth mourneth and fadeth away, the world languisheth and fadeth away, the hardy people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. So it says the earth is defiled. Let's get that word defiled and what that means. Strong's H2610, which is the Hebrew word chanap, to be profaned, be defiled, be polluted, be corrupt, to be polluted, to be profaned, be godless. That's what Esau is doing. Esau wants to be God himself. He has a God complex. So he believes that he can rule the earth and run everything without the Most High's direction. He wants to rival how the Most High wants things done. And that's why it says, when you read on in the scripture, it says the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. So Esau has the power to rule this earth based off how the scriptures tell you that you should rule it, based off how the Most High gave direction for rulers to rule. And if you rule according to how the Most High says to do it, then things will be furthered. Things would flourish. But Esau puts that aside and does things how he wants to do it. I'll use a small example, even like with the land Sabbath, for example. The scriptures tell you that every 7 years, you're supposed to, on that 7th year, you're supposed to let the land rest. And whatever plot of land you've been harvesting from them 6 years, let that soil rest so that it can replenish itself, so that you won't, destroy that part, that piece of earth. Esau just keeps on growing and growing, and just has to keep, reaping everything he can until he kills something. This is why he destroys, acres and acres and acres of forest, so that he can build, factories and fast food spots and cities and towns when he doesn't need to. But the reason why he does that is because it's going to get him more money. He doesn't care how much he'll run something into the ground as long as he gets something out of the deal. So going back to that example with the land Sabbath, he's not going to respect, what the Lord said when letting, a field rest, because he's like, well, no, I can keep using this field and keep getting more, crop out of it and sell it and get more money. And that small example evolves into something like Esau putting poisons into the food and selling people GMOs so that he can keep on pumping out food more than that food is naturally supposed to be harvested or pumped out. But he'll sell a fake version of it and give people sicknesses and cancers. But that money is going to keep flowing in, so he doesn't care who dies in the process. He doesn't care who gets sick in the process. He doesn't care that he's going against the natural order of how things are supposed to go. Because why? Because his pockets are being lined. Esau will go as far as to, corner a market and make sure that people who are doing things the right way, people who are trying to grow crops and make a living for themselves, Esau will push you out the way and shut down your business so that he can have it all to himself. Esau will make sure that if a person comes up with some type of form of gas or some type of form of like energy for a car, some type of gas for a car that's not polluting to the atmosphere, he'll shut that idea down because it's going to take away money from him and make people keep on gassing up their cars when somebody would figure out how to, power cars with water. But no, that doesn't give Esau money. He doesn't care if it's polluting the earth. So this are some examples of Esau's wickedness. Not only is he destroying the earth, but he's destroying the minds of the people. Pushing all his ideas of, homosexuality, women's rights. This American way is a cancer, is a poison to a person's mind, and it's contrary to the Most High's order. But Salakia for my rambling. I had a precept. 1 second. Let's go to Romans chapter 9, verse 13. I just want to get back on track with the precepts because I can go on and on about it. This Romans chapter 9, verse 13 says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So a person may ask himself, okay, well, if Esau is this, this terrible nation, this terrible people, then why did the Most High create him in the first place? Well, these verses are going to answer that. It said, what shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with the Most High? The Most High forbid. For he said to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So let's scroll down. We're going to go down to verse 22, which says, what if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? So what it's saying is that, the Most High created Esau as a nation, as the villains, so to speak, so that when they are destroyed, it shows the Most High's power. It shows the Most High's order. The whole earth is seeing this wicked, everybody upon the earth is seeing this wicked state that the world is in. All this war going on, all this, disorder, chaos. And when the kingdom of Israel takes over and the earth is in peace, and Esau is brought down into captivity, and eventually he's destroyed, and everybody sees the beauty that the earth is in, that's going to show why a person shouldn't be wicked. That's going to show the fruits of wickedness. And it's going to show the fruits of righteousness. It's going to show everybody this is how you're supposed to be living. And all this history of this earth as we know it right now, and the time that we're about to go into, is going to be proof. The Lord is letting Esau run wild and do all these things, but he's going to uproot his system, as the scriptures say in 2nd Ezra chapter 4, where it says in verse 28, 2nd Ezra 4 and 28, it says, "But as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. And therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good." So Esau's rulership has to be, put down. It has to be destroyed. But even more than his rulership being Salakia, as I was saying, even more than his rulership being destroyed, the whole nation has to be destroyed. When you uproot that tree, you can't leave any roots in that ground, because it's not like there's a bad batch of Edomites and then some of them are good. No, the Lord created them to be devils. The Lord created them to be evil. And you got Edomites that's at your job, that's co-workers, or those you see on your everyday those you see in your everyday life. And they're not the rich elite, of course. But when we're talking the world that we're about to come into, and we are, about to convert to an earth full of nothing but righteousness, everybody's, turning to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, you can't leave any of these Edomites, because they're going to rebel in some way, shape, form, or fashion. It's not in them to be upright. It's not in them to be righteous. The way that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua wants this earth to go, it's not compatible with Esau. So that's why they all have to be done away with. For example, you have King Saul received a righteous command to commit genocide upon the Amalekites, but he fell short of his order. He left the king alive. And look at the Amalekites today, which are the so-called Jews, the Jewish people in the earth, the Israelis. Look at what they're doing over there in that land. Look at the violence that they're committing. And that brings me to, the next precept. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 35, because not only are they committing violence upon, the heathen over there, but they stole the whole identity of the true Israelites, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. And this brings me to my next reason why they're going to suffer the fate that they're going to suffer, because of their violence against the nation of Israel, the true Israelites. Let's read this real fast in Ezekiel chapter 35 and verse 1. It says, "Moreover, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it." So when it's talking about Mount Seir, that is referring to Esau. That was a dwelling place of the Edomites. It says, "And say unto it, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, on Mount Seir I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end." So this is another reason why Esau is going to get this judgment that's coming to him, because of their violence against the nation of Israel. And it goes deep, because you have the obvious things that come to mind. You got slavery, you got all the bloodshed, the murder, the hardcore bondage they put us under, the raping, the pillaging that they did to our people. But then you have the fact that they have tried to erase us, and erase our true identity out of the earth, and have stolen it and twisted biblical prophecy, done all this stuff to keep us in the dark of who we are, and wipe our name out of history, or the true essence of our name. They over there in that land defiling it right now, and being imposters. And all the while they are calling us, Negroes, blacks, calling us Hispanics, saying that we're Native Americans, saying that we're native to Africa. putting all type of lies and deceit in our people's minds and have them lost. And that, you know, that's a crime against our people, because we are the children of the Most High. We are a holy people. We are the apple of the Lord's eye. Yet not only have you not only have you brought grueling violence against us, but you've done the biggest deceit in this earth toward us in history. You've hid all the history of who we are as people, and then you hid the history of these scriptures. You committed the ultimate sin, which is blasphemy, by going into these scriptures and hiding who the Lord is, changing Yahweh Shai into Jesus Christ so that we don't know who the Lord is. You changed all the people in the scriptures to look like you. So these are some of the highest offenses that you can commit. And this is why the Lord says that he hates the Edomites. That's why, what did it say? For Jacob have I loved, and Esau have I hated. This is the Lord's determination to do this unto the Edomites. Let's read on in this. It says, therefore as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. I just learned, and I got to go into the history some more, and do some back-end research as well, but one of the elders has sent a video of this. He looked like a professor, or historian, somebody, he was going into the history of when Christopher Columbus came over here, and, the crimes he did against the native tribes. And I can't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say it was something like, there was 150 million natives over here. And by the time Christopher Columbus, the people he was with, by the time they got done with their bloodshed, there was only 15 million natives left. So that means that you was murdering millions on top of millions of us. And not only, you murdering the children, the babies that are being born. And that's because of Esau's hatred toward us. And that's why it's fitting that at the end of Esau's 1,000 years of captivity in the kingdom, the people who are going to be responsible, the people through whom the Most High is going to eradicate the Edomites is going to be through the nation of Israel. Because we're going to be able to fully get back and, and fulfill the recompense that Esau deserves for what he has done unto us. And he's doing it all the way unto this day. He's not being as out in the open with his bloodshed toward our people, with his violence toward our people, but he's still doing it. With Planned Parenthood, for example, it was an Amalekite woman who came up with Planned Parenthood, and it was targeted toward the so-called black people. When you have all this poison that Esau put in Jake hoods for us to eat, for us to drink. Esau don't care about our people. He would like to see a lot of us die. You have these elites with their, what did it say on the, the Georgia Guidestones? It said that Esau wanted to get the population of the earth within 500 million. And you know who Esau wants to target to get that population down to that level. He's going to target Israelites first and foremost. But that's another reason why Esau has to go. Esau is so violent that he'll get rid of his own people to fulfill his agenda. Let's go to Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Esau is not a faithful person. Esau is only faithful in what he wants. But Esau isn't faithful in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. That's why he's so brazen in trying to defy what the scriptures say. Like it said when we went into what did it say in, let me get that back in Isaiah 24. What was the word? When it said the earth is defiled, one of them definitions says godless. And that's because Esau is not a faithful man. It says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, which is his philosophies, his ideas. It says he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So it's saying that Esau don't care who he got to go through. He don't care who he affects, who he hurts. All he cares about is his desire, and he's going to enlarge it. It says his desire is as hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied. So Esau's desire for control and his greed and his enviousness has gotten to the point to where he is about to enact this new world order, where he's going to get a lot of this earth chipped with that MOTB. It's getting to the point to where he wants to control the human race as his own, where he can sit as God. Esau's limits to how wicked he can be is truly limitless. The only thing that can put a stop on it is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. That's why the scriptures say in Matthew chapter 24, verse 22, where it says, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. If it wasn't for Yahushai coming back to shut down Esau's system, to shut down his rulership, then if Esau was to continue to rule, it says no flesh would be saved. Esau would drive the human race into extinction. I'm gonna put that animation, in the description, where it has the dude just destroying the earth at a whim, destroying animals, destroying ecosystems, building his factories, his guns, bombing stuff. I'm gonna put that video, and it shows at the end of that video that he really destroyed the whole earth, and was pleased with himself. But it says, and except those days should be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened. So Esau is going to be taken down. The Lord isn't going to allow Esau to run rampant on this earth and do the things that he's doing forever. It's only for a time. Because again, like it says in Romans chapter 9, in verse 22, it says, what if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction. So he's saying he's letting Esau do what he's doing, and even even the Lord is having to be patient, and watching Esau do all this wickedness. This is greatly angering the Lord. But when Esau's downfall comes, it's going to be a very, very violent overthrow. And it's going to show all of the Most High's anger for what he's been doing. So let's see. We'll grab this last precept here in Ezekiel chapter 25, verse 12, which says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because that Edom had dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and hath greatly offended, and revenged himself upon them. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will also stretch out mine hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it. And I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of the Dan shall fall by the sword. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel. And they shall do in Edom according to mine anger, and according to my fury. And they shall know my vengeance, said the Lord Yahweh. So it's saying it right there. Hey, through the Israelites, the Lord is going to, show his vengeance upon Esau. And the thing is, we ain't going to do it right now. We just prophesying. This is not our plan to, go out and start killing Edomites. No, we waiting on the go-ahead from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Yahushai is going to return with the angels and destroy this man's kingdom. And the Israelites are going to be raised up on high, and we're going to be put in our kingdom. And at that point, Esau is going to go into captivity underneath us. We're going to have him in chains, and we're going to be able to enjoy, enslaving his people for 1,000 years. And once those 1,000 years are up, the Edomites are up. That's going to be a righteous genocide. They're going to be out of this earth. And the earth is going to be in righteousness when the Israelites rule. Man, what does it say about our rule? Let's go to Revelation 21. And verse 4, it says, "And the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes." Who's just talking about? It's talking about the Israel. Let's back it up. To Revelation 21 verse 2. It says, "And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband." So this is talking about the elect of the nation of Israel. Establishing the kingdom upon the earth. It says, "And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and the Most High himself shall be with them and be their power. And the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away." And this is when we're going to be placed in our new covenant, in our perfect bodies, our perfect minds, to where we're going to rule in righteousness. And not only is there going to be no more death, sorrow, not only is there going to be peace for us, but the scriptures say that there's going to be peace for the earth. Now, we're going to put all the heathen into captivity, and Esau is going to get the worst of it. But the heathen are going to get a grueling captivity as well, but they're going to get whipped into shape. That by the end of those 1,000 years, while Esau is going to be completely wiped away and done away with, the rest of the heathen are going to be able to live in their dwellings in peace. They're going to be able to live it up in their own right. Now the kingdom for them ain't going to be what it is for us. We're going to have the most majestic, beautiful rulership ever. But for the heathen, even though they're going to still be, regular human beings, they're going to be living, in their lands, they're going to be living in their lands doing their thing. And they're going to be in peace. There's going to be no more war upon the earth. There's going to be no more wickedness upon the earth. Everybody's going to be serving Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And it's going to be beautiful. Again, Proverbs 29:2. What does it say? When the righteous rule, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So we're going to make sure that the earth is in its right state, and the heathen are going to be able to enjoy that in their own right. But that would never happen if Esau stays in power. And the earth would never see perfection, everybody in order, doing what they're supposed to be doing, if Esau continues to rule. Or if Esau continues to be upon the earth, down to the last one. They all have to go. Thus said the Lord. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachar Kodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS, and a salutation unto the elect.